Alrighty, happy Monday, Eagles fans. It's Nicky Stees here, and I'm back to talk about yesterday's victory over the Washington football team by the score of 24-8. Before I get into it, everyone joining in, please do me a favor. Leave a like, comment in the live chat, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new vid. I'm going to give people a few more seconds to come on in here. Click on the stream and join in. Okay, so I'm taking a sip of water right there. Give a few more seconds. Okay, so yes, you see that right there. The final score of yesterday's game was Philadelphia Eagles 24, Washington Commanders only 8 points in this game. A touchdown, interception by Epps on the 2-point conversion, and a safety. That's it. That's all they scored. But yes, we came out with the win. We're 3-0 now. I said going into this game, I proposed the question, is this a revenge game for Carson Wentz, or will this be a revenge game for the Philadelphia Eagles? Well, now we know the answer. This was revenge game for the Philadelphia Eagles. And we actually went out there and dominated this game right there. And we scored all our points in the second quarter, but you know what? That's really not something to be concerned with. I know some people are going to be nitpicky about the fact that we scored all our points in the second quarter and go, oh, well, what about points here in the first quarter? What about points in the second half? But really, that's not just nitpicky at this point. Let's be real. Because we're still going out there. Our offense is good enough to put up points and help us win some games right here. And I'm going to get into the specifics of the offense in just a moment. And our defense, hey, they're shutting teams down to less than 10 points back-to-back weeks, okay? We shut down the Minnesota Vikings only 7 points on Monday night last week, week 2, and this week, week 3, we shut down the Commanders to only 8 points. But let's break it down, talk a little bit about some of the performances that came out of this individually from the members of this Philadelphia Eagles roster. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts. You read at the bottom of the screen. That is correct. 900 plus passing yards, 150 rushing touchdowns through 3 weeks. That is correct, folks. That is Jalen Hurts, and he is the first quarterback in NFL history to do that in 3 weeks. 900 plus passing yards and 150 rushing touchdowns already this early into the season. That's unbelievable. John Clark from NBC Sports Philly, he posted that on Twitter. So if you're not following John Clark on Twitter, check out his Twitter because he's the one who posted that right there. And that's amazing right there. And he's showing you clearly that he has developed as a passer. No questions about that. And right there, obviously, as you see right there, Hurts is proving doubters wrong. I mean, you're going into the season myself, I had my questions. I, just like a lot of the other fans in the Eagles fan base, we were on him. I was saying, look, Jalen Hurts has got to step up and do it this year. He's got to develop as a passer. He's got better weapons around him. Okay, he's got A.J. Brown, devontasmith, Dallas Goedert, Zach Pascal, Quez Watkins. I was the one pushing that, along with the other fan base fans. We were saying, hey, look, he's got to step up. No excuses. Get it done. And so far, he has been getting it done, okay? Oh, and not to mention, here's another fun fact. 2 300-plus yard passing games from Jalen Hurts. So in the past 2 weeks, we've had 2 300-plus yard passing games. Yeah, so he's definitely stepping up and proving himself as a passer. And it does help that he's got those weapons to go to the ball to. The A.J. Browns, the devontasmiths, the Dallas Goederts of the world. So that absolutely does help too. I mean, you clearly see he's doing a better, with those guys there, he's doing a better job reading his options. Doing a better job, we're taking his time reading his options and getting the ball off. Where last year he had struggled to read his options a little bit when he wasn't really set with reading his options. He would just take off and run. And he was able to do some of that fairly well last year, but at times it looked like he wasn't even trying to look for his options, whereas this year, he is looking for his options there. And that could also be a contributing factor. Hey, he's got receivers around him now who can actually catch the ball, who can actually get open and make tough catches. And speaking of wide receivers doing that, we'll get to that. One Pacific player, a wide receiver who had an excellent game yesterday. I think you guys know who I'm talking about, but I'll get to him in a second. But Jalen Hurts, you're seeing that through these first 3 weeks thus far. He's doing that. And you saw that yesterday against the Washington Commanders. He was getting the ball out there. He threw 3 touchdown passes yesterday. So for everyone's talking about the statistically, oh, he's only got 1 touchdown pass. He's only got 1 touchdown pass. We're looking at that thing right there. But well, number one, the stats don't tell the entire story, number one. But guess what? In this case, yesterday he threw 3 touchdown passes. 3 touchdown passes. I hope that's enough right there for some of the people that were saying they need to throw more touchdown passes to be satisfied with. And that should be enough to satisfy everyone in the fan base right there. We got a nice one to Goddard for the first touchdown right there. You got A.J. Brown. He got Devontasmith at the end of the first half. I mean, yeah, so he threw 3 touchdowns in that second quarter right there. So hope that's enough for you guys right there. And speaking of wide receivers and touchdowns, that brings me to Devontasmith. I alluded to it a second ago. Now I'm going to talk about his performance in this game yesterday. He had a career high 169 receiving yards. So now that makes it back-to-back games where Devontasmith, or Devontae Smitty Smith, I want to call him that, had the most targets and most receptions back-to-back games. So he had most targets and receptions last week against the Vikings, and now he had the same thing here, but he had that career high 169 yards receiving. And he had some impressive catches in that first half. That catch near the end of the first quarter along the sideline. Get us at the Washington 16, which helped set up the field goal early in the second quarter for the first points of the game. With a nice catch along the sideline there, where Devontasmith managed to get both feet in bounds. Yeah, that amazing catch right there. With the catch in double coverage where Smith had to go up in the air late in the second quarter to put us up, set us up at Washington's goal line, which was an amazing catch right there. I mean, if you didn't actually get to see the game, if you haven't seen the highlights, definitely check out the highlights of that. I mean, some of these catches by Devontasmith were amazing. And then the other gazing, obviously the touchdown catch at the end of the second quarter on 4th and goal when we decided to go for it to put us up 24-0. Just an awesome performance by Devontasmith. And let me say it here. Devontasmith is here, okay? This is his breakout year right here in this offense. You've seen it through weeks 2 and 3. You saw him out there last week. Week 2, most targets, most receptions. And you see this week, he had 2 amazing catches in this game. 2 of his catches were amazing. The one along the sideline, like I pointed to, and then the one in double coverage where you need to get up in the air, grab the ball, come down with it, maintain possession. Now, I emphasize that part because to put the emphasis on not an easy thing to go up in the air and make those catches. And Devontasmith did that. That's why I put the emphasis on that right there. And, he had his career high. So let me tell you, Devontasmith is here in year 2. This is going to be his breakout year. I'm telling you, as barring any serious injuries, this will be Devontasmith's breakout year. That I will tell you. And yesterday's game proved it. It proved that his performance against the Vikings week 2 was not a fluke. And he came back, had an even better statistical game the following week in yesterday's win over the Commanders. Okay, I just need some more sip of water. Okay, so I just need a couple sips of water. Now I'm going to move on to the defense. Let's talk about the defense a little bit, shall we? Talk about that amazing performance right there. The Eagles recorded, as you see at the bottom of the screen, Eagles recorded 4+ sacks in the first quarter for the first time since 1994. So for the first time in nearly 3 decades, we recorded 4+ sacks in the first quarter. I mean, we were getting pressure on Carson Wentz all game long. We were laying hits on that young man all game long. We were making him look like a fool. We were all over him. That defensive line, everyone was there getting pressure on that man. It was just ridiculous. I mean, they could not do anything about it whatsoever. There, so when you came out from the opening drive, you had that opening drive where you had the 7-yard sack with the combined Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat for a 7-yard loss on the opening drive. That brought it into their opening drive right there. And it started there and it continued throughout the game. And by the time the game was finished, we dropped Carson Wentz 9 times. 9. Count it. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, but 9 times. There's no doubt that this defensive line is legit. I mean, you sack a quarterback 9 times in a game. That's a statement right there. It don't matter who you're playing against, who their quarterback is. Getting that many sacks in a game is not an easy feat for any defense. So the Eagles defense deserves some respect for that. Specifically, that defensive line deserves some respect for it. They were going out there. And I'm going to show you the stats on the screen. So there it is. Sacked Wentz 9 times. Brandon Graham, 2.5 sacks. So, hey, he's showing that he can still come back and make an impact even off that ACL injury. That was one of my biggest things going into the season is can Brandon Graham come back and still be the same player? Because, sometimes those ACL injuries slow a player down. But as of yesterday, he showed he can still be a difference maker. So Brandon Graham, 2.5 sacks. Hassan Riddick, 1.5 sacks. That's why we brought him in. Fletcher Cox, 1.5 sacks. Josh Sweat's 1.5 sacks. And yes, as you see there, tjedwards and Javon Hargrave got 1 sack each right there. So as you can clearly see, wasn't just one or a couple guys getting them. Everybody on that defensive line and the linebacking core, they were getting to Carson Wentz. This was their chance to get back at Carson Wentz for all the stupid times he was a bad leader, all the times he was selfish, all the times he tried to play hero ball to the detriment of this team. This was the defensive line's revenge, specifically for guys like Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, who were there during the Carson Wentz years. This was their chance for revenge. And not just that, but revenge for the Eagles and the Eagles fan base against Carson Wentz, the false Lord and Savior of the Philadelphia Eagles. And once again, we proved that he was a fraud. And that's right. As of right now, and you went to Jonathan Gannon, look, I've had my doubts about him as well as the rest of this Eagles fan base. We all know as Eagles fans, we have been hard on Jonathan Gannon. All of us have been. And I still think we were rightfully hard on him. Just after last year, because we saw a lot of question marks with his defense last year. Matter of fact, somebody even went and edited his Wikipedia page and accused him of delivering a Swiss cheese defense. Point being is, his defense was flawed. It was easy for people to poke fun at. But here we are this year. Things are a little different this time around. See, Jonathan Gannon's defense is doing a lot better. Now, could that be possibly Jonathan Gannon learning from his mistakes? Could very well be. Could it also be the fact that the talent here has come delivering? Absolutely. It could be a combination of two, but it's definitely the talent playing a role in it for sure. I mean, the guys we have here, the Hassan Reddicks, the tjedwards, Javon Hargrave. And let's not just talk about those guys, too. Let's talk about, the secondary, the Darius Slay Jr.'s, James Bradbury's. I mean, this whole defense is loaded with talent. And yesterday, you saw by the way they shut down the Commanders throughout most of the game that this was not week 2 was not just a fluke right there. That performance week 2 from that D line and from that secondary against the Minnesota Vikings. No, that was not just a fluke. That was a statement. What am I looking to say? That was not just a fluke. That was showing this defense finally coming out and tapping its potential. As you saw yesterday against the Commanders, it was the same thing right there. I mean, this Philadelphia Eagles defense constantly getting pressure on the QB. I mean, constantly helping create plays, keep them from scoring points, which helped us out in get another win. I mean, it was pretty much the exact same score. It was the exact same score as last week's game, but add 1 point to the opposing team's final score. 24-7 against the Vikings, 24-8 against the Commanders. So pretty much it was a repeat performance on both sides of the ball right there, offense and defense. And hey, to Jonathan Gannon, I mean, so far he's got good defense going right there. I don't know if it's just the talent, Jonathan Gannon. Maybe he's just letting the talent do its thing the last couple weeks, because it looks like the talent's out there just doing its thing, getting pressure on the QBs, making these big-time plays right there. I mean, it feels like right now it's just really the talent out there in defense doing everything, shutting guys down, getting the blitz. I mean, we saw their run game last 2 weeks. The run game hasn't gotten going at all for opposing teams. Didn't really get going last week on Monday night with Dalvin Cook. And this week, he didn't really get going at all with McKissick. Right? Yeah, but yes, that's right. But that means that, hey, this defense is coming along. And some people will try to still say, oh, well, it's only the Vikings, it's only the Commanders. As far as the Vikings go, who knows how they're good? They might actually turn out to be a solid team. I mean, right, they did beat the Detroit Lions in a close game yesterday. They're 2-1. Maybe the Vikings might be a playoff contender late in the season. Who knows? So as far as that one goes, we might be talking about a team that possibly is a playoff contender there. So for people that want to question the strength of the schedule, I guess if you want to question the Commanders and say, oh, it was only the Washington Commies, and you're talking about them quarterbacked by Carson Wentz, you're talking about Ron Rivera as their coach, who, yes, well, Ron Rivera is a likable personality. He hasn't really shown that he's the answer for them as head coach. Has he? No. So you could be saying a valid argument that, oh, it was only the Washington Commanders and not that good a team. But you know what? The Philadelphia Eagles went in there and took care of business against them. Good teams are supposed to go out there and take care of business against mediocre and bad teams and do so convincingly. And this Philadelphia Eagles team did that yesterday. So to sit there and say it's only the Commanders, well, that's not a good statement right there. Because if you're a good team, you're supposed to take care of these teams that are struggling convincing fashion. You're supposed to go out there, perform well, get your own players' confidence up. And that's exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles did yesterday. So they did what a good team's supposed to do in the situation they were faced in yesterday. Let's go up there and put up an impressive performance and get some of the critics and some of the people in the media talking positively about them after the performance. And that's exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles did yesterday. So for those of you that want to sit there and talk that, you might want to think about that a little bit more before you say it was only the Commanders. Just say. So, yeah, absolutely impressive performance right there. So, give this Philadelphia Eagles team credit. They're 3-0. We are 3-0 for the first time in nearly a decade. That's right, baby. It feels good. First time since 2014, we're 3-0. Now, as long as we finish this season better than we did in 2014, you know what? I'm all on board for it. You know what? And now we got to play next week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, coached by Doug Peterson. And yesterday they did look pretty. They got the one against the Chargers with an injured Justin Herbert trying to play out there. He got pulled from the game. But you know what? The Jaguars actually looking like a decent team out there led by Doug Peterson. this might be an interesting matchup next week. We got to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I'll talk about that later this week in a separate video. As far as this Eagles game against the Commanders, awesome performance by this team. I give my game ball this game to Devontasmith for his career high performance and some of those amazing catches he was making in the second quarter. Definitely played a contributing factor in us scoring 24 against them. Especially those two big catches, the one along the sideline late in the first quarter and the one in double coverage. Because those were two big plays that set up scores on that same drive. So I definitely got to give Devontasmith credit for those two, for his performance, especially those two catches specifically. So again, game ball goes to Devontasmith right there. Not much else I can say right there. All I can say is everyone that tunes in or listens, even if you didn't catch it live, you catch it afterward, you can be watching in parts. Thank you for watching. If you hear what I'm saying right now, do me a favor, drop a like, help out the algorithm, subscribe for new, hit that notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new vid. And also leave a comment in the comment section if you're watching this after it's been recorded. Let me know what you took away from this game. Most of all, have a wonderful day or night. Fly, Eagles, fly. We're 3-0. Bring on the Jacksonville Jaguars next. Mickey Stees signing off, and I'll be back with another video soon.